warm welcome to TV Africa News and thank you for always joining us. This is Africa Today. My name is Najuma Luima. But first are the headlines. Uganda celebrates Africa Day. Democratic Party expects a business-like parliament. And in sports, Uganda pipped Tanzania in high-scoring East African derby. The President General of the Democratic Party, Honorable Norbert Mao, has asked the newly elected Speaker of Parliament and his deputy to make Parliament more productive if it is to benefit the country. He said this while giving his expectations of the 11th Parliament. Narugo has more.
Addressing a news conference on Tuesday, 25th May 2021, President General of the Democratic Party, Norbert Mao, said it's high time Parliament becomes more productive through conducting serious business.
The Parliament of Uganda passes very few bills. We hope there will be a change. In a whole session, a whole year, you find that Parliament has only passed maybe 18 laws. Now, how do you pass only 18 laws? There are so many laws that need to be debated and passed. So we need a business-like Parliament. That is our expectation. Parliament which gets things done to minimize the politicking.
Mao also applauded the outgoing Speaker of Parliament, also Kamuli Woman Representative Rebecca Kadaga, for improving the image of the Ugandan Parliament worldwide.
She redefined the institution of Parliament and gave it a stronger voice for the people, capable of taking a stand against many instances of executive overreach, especially in financial matters. Her networking skills has improved the image of our Parliament worldwide and made Uganda's Parliament a model that many democracies look up to and emulate. Given her knowledge and experience, she still has a lot to offer the country and the people of Uganda and the world.
Parliament and responsible citizens to demand for accountability from their representatives.
You can cry until Jesus returns, but until you make a decision to be a responsible citizen makes legitimate demands of the leaders that are elected. It is as simple as that. And that one has no, if my MP is NRM, I'm not going to say I'm going to suffer while praying that in the next election I'll get a DP. If you are NRM and your MP is from another party, you can't say you're going to wait until your party gets into office. You must serve the citizens because the government belongs to all.
Narugo Muyingo, Africa Today.
Moving on, the General Court Martial has today, Tuesday, 25th May 2021, released on bail 17 out of the 35 members and supporters of the National Unity Platform Party on grounds of seeking treatment outside detention. We have more. The released are part of the 35 NUP supporters have been on remand following their arrest on December 30th, 2020 in Kalangala district while on campaign trail with their presidential candidate Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, who were charged with unlawful possession of ammunition. The General Court Martial Chairman, Lieutenant General Andrew Guti, released the 17 on a non-cash bail of 20 million shillings while their sureties were bonded at 50 million shillings each non-cash. The sureties whom the court found substantial include Honorable Matthias Impuga, David Lubongoya, Waswa Bufumbiro Joel Senyonyi, all NUP officials. The release include Samson Sechiranda, Kafuko Stanley, Mudentambi, Katumba Robert, Chabagu Gesera, Chigongo Faizo, Mulimira Musa, Mutumba Sam, Mukasa Hussein, Sunday John Bosco, Tamare Fahad, Nyanzi William, Matov Adam, Mpanga Charles, and Suga Mohammed. The other 18 suspects, however, were not released on bail because prosecution, led by Charuhanga Emi, told the court that their affidavits had not been fully examined. These, among others, include Chagulanyi's bodyguard Edward Sebufu, alias Edimute, and singer Ali Bukeni, alias Nubian Lee, who will return to court on June 8th for hearing of their application.
Welcome you to the court martial grounds. I thank you so much for following up this matter for the rights of our colleagues that have been in incarceration for 5 months plus. So far, we are very appreciative to our team of attorneys led by Counsel Amedi and Counsel Katana and the Honorable Malende for the tenacity, because you've been following, we've been here severally to no consequence. But finally, we've been able to have bail for 17 of our colleagues. We shall get the details. You know, the communication in numbers has been in anecdotes, so we shall get the detail. All we can say is that the fight for freedom is additive. It's not an event, and we are determined to make sure that our colleagues get freedom. Even those out on bail, we have the fight for their total freedom because their prosecution is pending and there's no date in sight to commence it. So we encourage our people, the families of those still in detention, to remain together, to remain firm, to pray for the prisoners, and also continue demanding for their release. I thank you.
From that, today, 25th May 2021, Uganda joins the rest of African governments and governments across the globe to commemorate what is known as the Africa Day under the theme Arts, Culture and Heritage Levers for Building the Africa We Want. Now, before you celebrate on the Africa Day, our reporter takes you through the origin of the day.
Africa Day is the day that African people all over the world come together to analyze the current state of the nation and together build strategies and tactics aimed at implementing the plans required to create a viable future for the African nation. Before its creation, the first Congress of Independent African States was held in Accra, Ghana on the 15th of April, 1958. It was convened by Prime Minister of Ghana, Dr. Kwame Osagyefo Nkrumah, and comprised of representatives from Egypt, then a constituent part of the United Arab Republic, Ethiopia, Liberia, Libya, Morocco, Sudan, Tunisia, the Union of the Peoples of Cameroon, and of the host country Ghana, minus the Union of South Africa, which was not invited. The conference showcased the progress of liberation movements on the African continent in addition to symbolizing the determination of the people of Africa to free themselves from foreign domination and exploitation. Although the Pan-African Congress had been working towards similar goals since its foundation in 1900, this was the first time such a meeting had taken place on the African soil. The conference called for the founding of the African Freedom Day, a day to mark each year the onward progress of the liberation movement and to symbolize the determination of the people of Africa to free themselves from foreign domination and exploitation. The conference was notable in that it laid the basis for the subsequent meetings of the African heads of state and government during the Casablanca Group and the Monrovia Group era until the formation of the Organization of African Unity in 1963. On the 25th of May 1963, representatives of 30 African nations met in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, hosted by Emperor Haile Selassie. By then, more than 2/3 of the continent had received independence, mostly from imperial European states. At this meeting, The Organization of African Unity was founded with the initial aim to encourage the decolonization of Angola, Mozambique, South Africa, and Southern Rhodesia. The organization pledged to support the work conducted by freedom fighters and remove military access to colonial nations. A charter was set out which sought to improve the living standards across member states. Slasla exclaimed that may this convention of union last for 1,000 years. The charter was signed by all the attendees on 26 May, with the exception of Morocco. At that meeting, Africa Freedom Day was renamed Africa Liberation Day. In 2002, the Organization of African Unity was replaced by the African Union. However, the renamed celebration of Africa Day continued to be celebrated on the 25th of May in respect to the formation of the Organization of African Unity. Africa must unite.
Let's go for a very quick short break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, the right to know. Africa Day continues to be celebrated both in Africa and around the world, mostly on 25th May, although in some cases these periods of celebrations can be stretched out over a period of days or weeks. This year's celebrations, however, comes amidst new challenges on the continent. Kachanchu reports.
Africa Day is celebrated in various countries on the African continent, as well as around the world, with themes set for each year's Africa Day in commemoration of the foundation of the Organization of African Unity on 25th May 1963. The celebration, however, comes on a back heel of a number of issues on the continent, including the COVID-19 pandemic, having piled up pressure on African economy, African heads of states, borrowing summit in Paris, Chad's military government after the sudden death of President Idris Deby, while Ethiopia's Tigray conflict has led to thousands of civilian deaths and displacements. The issues on the continent are about Ethiopia, the second most populous country on the continent, which has a dispute with Sudan and Egypt concerning its dam on the Nile River's main tributary, Mali's joint civilian-military transition government after last year's coup that ousted Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta, Mozambique's Islamist insurgents, Libyan ceasefire and worsening insecurity in Sahel region, where countries have struggled to combat multiple armed groups.
Away from that, the volcanic eruption in eastern Congo 2 days ago has killed at least 32 people. Residents searched for missing loved ones amid destroyed homes on the outskirts of the eastern city of Goma, where aftershocks were detected. With little warning, Mount Nyiragongo turned the dark sky fiery red on Saturday night and then spewed torrents of lava into villages, destroying more than 500 homes, according to officials and survivors. The toll on Monday increased from 22 to 32 and was likely to continue rising, according to Joseph Makundi, head of civil protection for the North Kivu province, adding that more than a dozen people died in car accidents while trying to escape, while others were killed when lava hit their homes. Some died Monday from inhaling smoke or toxic gas when they were walking across a wide expanse of the cooling lava, according to the scientific director of the Volcanic Observatory of Goma, Celestine Kasereka Mahinda. He warned the population of Goma to avoid unnecessary travel to places that have been hit by lava from the volcano because these lavas are toxic and harmful. The Mount Nyiragongo volcano eruption caused about 5,000 people to flee from one neighborhood of Goma, a city of about 2 million people, across the nearby border into Rwanda. A leader of Sudanese infamous Janjaweed militia, Ali Muhammad al-Abdallah Rahman, has been accused by the ICC prosecutor Fatou Bensouda of personally committing murders in Darfur, becoming the first to face charges at the International Criminal Court over the conflict.
Ali Muhammad Ali Abdurrahman, also known by the name Duguel Ali Kushaib, was in court for a hearing to decide if there is enough evidence for a full trial on 31 charges of war crimes and crimes against humanity. The International Criminal Court Chief Prosecutor Fatou Bensouda told the court in The Hague that Abdurrahman, an ally of deposed Sudanese leader Omar al-Bashir, was a senior leader of the infamous Janjaweed militia and an energetic perpetrator of murders in the Darfur War in 2003 and 2004. The 70-year-old suspect, who handed himself in last year after more than a decade on the run, denies the charges. Fighting broke out in 2003 when ethnic African rebels, complaining of systematic discrimination, took up arms against Bashir's government. The United Nations says 300,000 people were killed and 2.5 million people were displaced in the Darfur conflict.
Malian soldiers, unhappy with the new government announced by the transitional authorities, took the president and the prime minister by force on Monday to the Kati military camp as a few kilometers from Bamako, in a coup shaking the country plunged in a deep crisis. We have more.
According to a government official who spoke on condition of anonymity, given the sensitive nature of the information, confirmed that the heads of transition executive, President Bahandao and Prime Minister Moktar Ouani, have been taken to Kati, the center of Mali's military apparatus. It was there that President-elect Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta was forcibly taken by coup colonels on 18 August 2020 to announce his resignation. Shortly before, the transitional prime minister had indicated that he had been taken under duress by soldiers to the home of President Bandao on Monday. The events came just hours after the announcement of a new government, which is still dominated by the military, but from which officials close to the junta that took power after the August 2020 coup, and of which Assimi Goïta was the leader, having been removed.
Let's once again take a very quick short break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, the right to know. In our business news today, an Egyptian appeals court has said that it lacks jurisdictions to look into Suez Canal Authority's demands to uphold financial claims that led to the seizure of the cargo ship, the Ever Given, that blocked the waterway canal linking the Mediterranean Sea and the Red Sea in March 2021. The appeals chamber of the Ismailia Economic Court referred the case to a lower court to decide on the legality of the seizure of the ship until the settlement of compensation claim between the Suez Canal Authority and Shoikisen Kaisha Limited, the ship's Japanese owner, according to Hazem Barakat, a lawyer representing the vessel's owner. The Ever Given was on its way to the Dutch port of Rotterdam on March 23rd when it slammed into the bank of a single-lane stretch of the canal about 6 kilometers north of the southern entrance near the city of Suez. Since it was freed, the Panama-flagged vessel, which carries cargo between Asia and Europe, has been ordered by authorities to remain in a holding lake mid-canal as its owner and the Canal Authority try to settle a compensation dispute. At first, the Suez Canal Authority demanded $916 million in compensation, which was later lowered to $550 million, according to the head of the Canal Authority, Lieutenant General Osama Rabia, while on a television program on Sunday. The money would cover the salvage operation, costs of stalled canal traffic, and lost transit fees for the week the Ever Given blocked the canal. In our health news today, the World Health Organization head stated at a meeting of the Peace and Security Council of the African Union on vaccine access to overcome the COVID-19 pandemic that so far just over 25 million coronavirus vaccines, or 1.5% of doses administered worldwide, have been in Africa.
While addressing the assembled, the World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus called upon member states to support a massive push to vaccinate at least 10% of the population of every country by September and a drive to December to achieve their goal of vaccinating at least 30% by the end of the year. Matshidiso Moeti, World Health Organization Africa Director, said that COVID-19 vaccine shipments to African countries have slowed down in May due to the reliance on India as one of the key manufacturers globally and the devastating surge of cases India is dealing with. The African continent was expecting 66 million COVID-19 vaccine doses through COVAX facility from February to May, but instead it has so far received only 18.2 million doses according to the World Health Organization. The African continent sees more than 4.7 million confirmed COVID-19 cases, with 4.2 million recoveries and 126,000 deaths according to the World Health Organization figures.
In our sports news today, Uganda national beach soccer team Sand Cranes recorded their first win at the ongoing AFCON beach soccer finals in Senegal. Our reporter Kachanchu has more.
The Sand Cranes beat East African rivals Tanzania 4-3 during the 7-goals thriller at the Sali Beach Soccer Stadium. Emmanuel Alex Waswa, Isma Kawaulo and Swale Simbwa netted the strikes for Uganda, while Juma Rajab Januf and Wally Stefani braced the Tanzanian team with 3 goals. Uganda Sand Cranes assistant coach Bashiru Mutiaba, who deputizes Jamil Salim Wonge, was full of praise for the players who staged a brilliant performance and disclosed that the victory over Tanzania puts them on the line to qualify for the semi-finals if Senegal beats Tanzania. In case of qualification to quarter-finals, Uganda will play on Friday 28th May 2021.
Now, before we end our news bulletin today, let's take a recap of our top stories. Uganda celebrates Africa Day. Democratic Party expects a business-like parliament. And in sports, Uganda pipped Tanzania in high-scoring East African derby. That was the news. Thank you for always keeping it TV Africa. Please do stay tuned. More programming coming your way.
This is Africa, and that was the news.